Okay. All right. So this is my demo of Beautiful Day. Finally here. Amazing. So what I first want to show is I want to show off my recycler adapters. These are a very big part of the app because the weekly and the hourly recycler views, the forecast that I have, are made with this. And what these are the recycler views. And what they do is they take my recycler layouts and they make my recycler layouts just cycle through. And then what it uses is it takes these items and it puts the data from my API into this and then it makes it an entire row and it makes it however long it needs to be to match however many items are in the data set from the API. These are very important to my app. The second thing I'm going to go over are my graph layouts. So I have these graph layouts here, and every time I click on the graph, these layouts will pop up and they will have information for my graphs that I have on my on-click functions. Next, I want to go through my bottom sheet layouts. As you can see, the recycler view items will be here and you'll be able to scroll through them horizontally. And there are two of these because I have two recycler views, one for hourly and one for weekly. And if we look at my main activity for my XML, not my main code, and not my main activity code, but my main activity XML, right? We have my guidelines, we have my search bar. This is the main temperature card, and these are my data, weather data not functions, my weather data views that I have made from all different weather data that I pull from my API service. And when they are put here, they'll be displayed, and you can click on the wind speed, precipitation, and the main card to get more data. And you can, of course, type in the search bar. You can have international searching functionality. Anything national in the US can be searched. And if you click on these text views down here, the weekly forecast will pop up, and so will the hourly forecast. The hourly forecast is only for 12 hours, whereas the weekly is every 3 hours for 5 days. And this is the code for all of this, all of my views. And if we go over to I implemented a bunch of fonts that I'm using in this, and my API service calls are here. Um, and all my data classes where all the data comes from. When I pull the data from the API, the data goes into these models that I have. Into these models, this is where all the data goes. And all of this data is used in my main activity where you see, let me scroll down here. All of these forecasts pull the data from over here that's been pulled from the API service. And this is my recycler adapter, um, what I'm calling it in my main activity. This is what I'm using to call that. I'm also, this is my, where is it? My current weather. This is the main um, view of things. So when you open the app, you want to see how hot it is, how cold it is currently. That's what it's mainly showing in the on the big screen in the middle in the center. This is what shows that, and this is what changes over here. The background is what changes the backgrounds. Depending on what it is outside, is what happened when the app runs. The background will change depending on what it is. And these are just all of the values that will go into the different views, the text views, the linear layouts, everything that is here is binded to those elements that are from my main activity XML. And if we look down here, I have a data format converter. This is for time because I have to make sure that I account for time offsets. Earlier in this process, I had an issue where my um, time zones were not matching up with the actual time zone of the place unless it was in Eastern Standard Time. So I had to make a function that would change it to match where the time zone was and what the time actually was. Similarly, I had a different issue um, where the temperature minimum and maximum were not correct. And so I had to make a different API call to the daily forecast to get the correct min and max. This is what you will see. And now we can go and run the app itself. I'm using an emulator. This is a Pixel 5 API 36 emulator, which of course emulates a Pixel 5 phone. So the way that this app will look when I run it here, it will also look if you run it on a Pixel 5 phone. This app was very fun to make. I had a very fun time making this app, running this app. I think one of the hardest things that I had to do was tackle the recycler views because it's something that I've never done before. Similarly, I've never done API calls, so retrofit instances and doing all those different web service connections was a new experience for me, which was very interesting and taught me a lot about um, this entire process and app development. And it's something I was very happy to do while we're also waiting for the app to show. The search bar that I have is up on top. And basically, whenever you type into the search bar, it will make the city parameter what you've entered, and then from that, it will show whatever city you're trying to reach. It works, like I said, internationally, locally, in the States, out the States. You can do whatever you want to do. It will show you the data for that location. And the reason that I have everything right here is because when I set the city equal to the query, I want everything to also change. All right. Okay. So as we see here, um, we are in Atlanta, Georgia, ATL, US. I have it set as city in the country because most places in the world don't adhere to the city state country like we do in the US. So I wanted to make it simple. I wanted to have just the city and then the country. So we have Atlanta, US. Over here we have the status. We have the main temperature, which is what it is outside currently. The high of the day, which is 90. The low, which is 71. What it feels like currently, which is 85. Down here we have a sunrise, a sunset, the wind speed, the wind pressure, humidity, and precipitation daily. Down here we have our 5-day forecast and our hourly forecast, right? If we click on our weekly forecast, we can scroll through and see what it will be for the week. Like I said, this is every 3 hours for 5 days. And this is the temperature for every 3 hours, every 5 day, 4 or 5 days. And if we look over here, this is our hourly forecast, clear sky. It will go through 12 hours or more. It'll go through more than 12 hours. It's supposed to go through the entire 24 hours, and you can have um, everything for hourly forecasts. Um, and we click on our main card here, and we get a nice weather graph. So this is a weather graph. This weather graph is 12 hours. Sorry, not the um, hourly temperature recycler view, but this graph that I have that I've created is for 12 hours. And you can see it goes from 80 to 978, it goes down, and you can see it go back up. This is our hourly temperature graph. We have a wind speed graph, which is very cool. You can see our wind speed over 12 hours. Precipitation, you won't really see much because there's nothing in Georgia happening currently. It's flat because we have not had rain um this week at all, which is unfortunate for me. But um, as you can see, that works. And for the functionality of our search bar, if we look at Seattle, you can see it change. If you want Houston, you can see that change. You can see that the backgrounds also change with it. Some backgrounds take longer to load than others, but every background will change depending on where you are in the world, what you want. Um, if you want to go to Jamaica, maybe. If you look at Montego Bay, very heavy rain. Um, if you want to go, I don't know, Nepal, with this app, you can go anywhere that you want to go and look up any temperature that you want to look up because it has function there that you can look up. That is something that I added that I found very important because if I were to release this app, I don't know who would use it. So I want everyone to be able to use it. Um, if I were to do this app again, I would make it so that, excuse me, I'd want these to be buttons instead of just text views. And I would want a better looking graph, and I'd also want for it to be able to do more. I want you to be able to open the application and have it ask for your location and display your location. I would want it to display more types of information. I want it to be able to save locations, have user accounts, look at past forecasts for, I don't know, maybe up to like a month. If I were to do this project again, I would want it to have more functionality. I will continue to update this project because it just means a lot to me. It's my first project like this. I want to make it as great as I can. But that is beautiful day.